Warning! Trivia ahead! Objects in the mirror may be dumber than they appear. Greetings, gear-grinding earthlings! Welcome to the famous Vehicles of Movies and TV Challenge, where your frail human brains will stall faster than a 1970s British sports car. From screaming muscle cars to talking Trans-Ams, time-travelling DeLoreans to exploding cop cruisers. We're diving headfirst into cinematic horsepower. You'll face 3 levels of difficulty, each one more brutal than the last. 3 available points per question. Year of vehicle equals 1. Make of vehicle equals 1. Movie or show equals 1. So start your engines, and I hope your memory has airbags, because we're about to barrel roll all over your trivia confidence. Let's start in first gear, shall we? These are the obvious rides, the ones even your grandma remembers from her VHS collection. Frank Bullitt's 1968 Ford Mustang GT 390 from the movie Bullitt, 1968. The first Batmobile, a customized 1955 Lincoln Futura from the Batman TV series, 1966 to 1968. Mr. Bean's 1977 Leyland Cars Mini 1000, Mr. Bean, 1990 to 1995. Ecto 1, the 1959 Cadillac Miller Meteor ambulance from the original Ghostbusters, 1984. KITT, Knight Industries 2000, a 1982 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am driven by Michael Knight in the Knight Rider TV series, 1982 to 1986. The Striped Tomato, the 1975 Ford Gran Torino from Starsky and Hutch, 1975 to 1979. The General Lee, a 1969 Dodge Charger RT driven by the Duke Boys in Dukes of Hazzard, 1979 to 85. The Monkeemobile, a highly customized 1966 Pontiac GTO from the Monkees, 1966 to 1968. Herbie, the 1963 Volkswagen Beetle used in 6 Love Bug films and a short 80s TV series. The 1983 GMC Vandura A-Team van from the A-Team, 1983 to 1987. The Munster Coach, a customized 1923 Ford Model T bucket from the Munsters TV show, 1964 to 1966. Jim Rockford's ride was a 1974 to 1978 Pontiac Firebird Esprit, the Rockford Files, 1974 to 1980. Rockford got a new car each season from 1974 through 1978, yet the 78 model did extended duty from the 1978 season until the show wrapped in early 1980. Doc's 1981 DeLorean DMC-12, used in the Back to the Future trilogy, 1985 to 1990.
Hey, Doc, you better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
The Partridge Family Bus, a 1957 Chevrolet Series 6800 school bus. The Partridge Family, 1970 to 1974. Walter White's daily driver, his 2004 Pontiac Aztek in Breaking Bad, 2008 to 2013.
That was the trivia equivalent of forgetting to put the car in park.
Austin Powers Jaguar, a 1967 Jaguar E-Type. Austin Powers, 1997. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, a custom fantastical car built by Ford for the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, 1968. The Bandits' 1977 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, from Smokey and the Bandit, 1977. The Purely Evil 1958 Plymouth Fury from Christine, 1983. Coyote X Manta Montage Kit Car, used in Hardcastle and McCormick, 1983 to 1986. Menacing and Evil 1955 Peterbilt 281 tanker truck from Duel, 1971. The Kowalski-driven 1970 Dodge Challenger RT in Vanishing Point, 1971. The Creepy Goblin Truck, a 1970s White Western Star 4800 semi-truck in Maximum Overdrive, 1986. A 1974 Dodge Monaco, aka the infamous Bluesmobile from the Blues Brothers, 1980. The red 1979 Ferrari 308 used in Magnum PI, 1980 to 1988. And a special note before the know-it-alls suffer a brain aneurysm. Magnum PI used 3 subtly different Ferrari models. In the first season, Magnum was behind the wheel of a 1979 308 version, which included carburetors. Then, a few seasons in, they swapped out the 308 carburetor model for the GTSI with fuel injection. Toward the end of the show, the Ferrari 308 GTS Quattrovalvole would take the place of the GTSI.
All right, warm-up's over, amateurs. Gone are the kiddie lanes and training wheels. Now we're in proper trivia territory. Think you can handle obscure muscle cars, futuristic cruisers, or vehicles that had more screen time than the actors? Let's find out if you're built for speed or destined for the trivia scrapyard.
The evil, creepy, customized 1971 Lincoln Continental Mark III from The Car, 1977. The Tumbler Custom Batmobile invented for Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy.
That's more like it.
Detective Morse's 1960 Regency Red Jaguar Mk2, used in Inspector Morse, 1987 to 2000. Milner's 1932 Ford Deuce Coupe from the American Graffiti movie, 1973. The Creeper Truck, a 1941 Chevrolet COE from Jeepers Creepers, 2001. Dom's 1970 Dodge Charger RT from The Fast and the Furious, 2001.
Impressive! Your neurons actually found the ignition switch.
(1966) Ford Thunderbird convertible, driven by Thelma and Louise, 1991. The Driver's 1955 Chevrolet 150 in 2-lane blacktop, 1971. The iconic 1964 Aston Martin DB5 from the James Bond films, debuted in Goldfinger, 1964, and was featured in 7 other Bond films. (2004) Audi RSQ concept car, used in I, Robot, 2004. (1949) Mercury Coupe, driven by James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, 1955. The 2007 Chevrolet Camaro, aka Bumblebee, from Transformers, 2007. The Pussy Wagon, a 1997 Chevrolet C2500 Silverado Fleetside in Kill Bill Volume 1, 2003. Black Beauty, a 1966 Chrysler Imperial Crown in the Green Hornet TV series, 1966 to 1967. (1971) Plymouth Cuda, driven by Nash Bridges, 1996 to 2001. Note that the show used many 1970s Barracudas, which were modified to look like 71 models. (1962) Rolls-Royce Phantom 5 from the Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour, 1967. Jim's 1947 Triumph Roadster in Bergerac, 1981 to 1991. Wagon Queen Family Truckster was a modified 1979 Ford LTD Country Squire for National Lampoon's Vacation, 1983. James Bond's submarine Lotus Esprit S1 in The Spy Who Loved Me, 1977. Max's Pursuit Special V8 Interceptor, a 1973 Ford Falcon XBGT in Mad Max, 1979. The Mirthmobile, 1976 AMC Pacer from Wayne's World, 1992. The Mutt Cuts van, a modified 1984 Ford Econoline seen in the Dumb and Dumber films. Don't even think about stealing this 1969 Ford Mustang Mach-1 owned by John Wick, 2014. The infamous Eleanor, a 1967 Ford Mustang Shelby GT 500 from Gone in 60 Seconds, 2000. But as some of our hardcore car friends will know, these were heavily modified 1967 Mustang fastbacks designed by Chip Foose and Steve Stanford to resemble a Shelby GT 500. A 1961 Ferrari 250 GT Spider California.
Wrong.
Seen in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 1986. But before you gearheads get your oil-stained panties in a knot, I'll tell you that the only real Ferrari in the film was used for close-up insert shots. The other 2.5 cars were replicas made by Modena Spider, California. The half car was the rolling fiberglass shell used in the destruction scene.
Welcome to Level 3, Grease Monkeys. This is where cult classics collide, deep-cut surface, and even sentient cars are confused. If your brain isn't overheating by the end of this one, congratulations. You might actually be worth abducting for research. So, strap in, humans. This is where the real carnage begins.
Tallahassee's 2005 Cadillac Escalade driven in Zombieland 2009. The Patrol Pursuit Special V8 Interceptor, a 1973 Ford Falcon XB-GT from Mad Max, 1979. Cabretti's Ride, a 1950 Mercury Coupe from the movie Cobra, 1986. Batmobile, modified 68-70 Dodge Charger from the film The Batman, 2022. Charlie Babbitt's 1949 Buick Roadmaster convertible from Rain Man, 1988. The Gigahorse was a monstrous 1959 Cadillac Coupe de Ville stacked on a custom chassis for Mad Max Fury Road, 2015. A white 1986 Ferrari Testarossa used on Miami Vice, 1984 to 1989. Tony Stark's 2008 Audi R8 in Iron Man, 2008. The White Lightning was a 1948 Ford Deluxe convertible built for the movie Grease, 1978. Lucifer's Ride is a 1962 Chevrolet Corvette C1 in the TV series Lucifer, 2016 to 2021. The DeLorean went to the future. You stayed here being wrong. Rick Simon's 1979 Dodge Power Wagon Macho 4x4 truck in Simon & Simon, 1981 to 1988. Sad and Pathetic, 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, driven by Joe Dirt, 2001. '61 Volvo P1800, driven by the Saint in the TV series, 1962 to 69. Stuntman Mike's 1971 Chevrolet Nova from Death Proof, 2007. Some of the cars were actually 1970s models, made to look like 71s. (1973) Ford Mustang Fastback from the original Gone in 60 Seconds film, 1974. However, the cars are actually 1971 Mustang sports roofs with 1973 grills and custom non-Ford paint schemes. (1970) Chevrolet Chevelle SS 454 in Dazed and Confused, 1993. The Pork Chop Express, a 1985 Freightliner FLC 120 semi-truck from Big Trouble in Little China, 1986. (1973) Pontiac Firebird Trans Am from Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, 1974. Rumoured to have been owned by Clint Eastwood. Dragula, a custom dragster built from a real coffin for use in the Munsters, 1964 to 1966. Fictional Dodge M4 SPPG Turbo Interceptor, used in The Wraith, 1986. (1972) Reliant Regal Supervan 3, used in the UK TV show Only Fools and Horses, 1981 to 2003. Baby, Winchester's 1967 Chevrolet Impala from the TV show Supernatural, 2005 to 2020. (1971) Ford Capri 3000 GT. The Professionals, 1977 to 1983. Cousin Eddie's RV, a 1973, maybe 72 depending who you ask, Ford Condor 2 from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Colt's Truck, a customized 1981 or 1982 GMC K2500 Sierra Grande 4x4 pickup, abused in The Fall Guy, 1981 to 1986. (1970) Dodge Challenger RT. No, you're not seeing double. In his 2007 movie Death Proof, Quentin Tarantino used a 1970 Dodge Challenger RT for the harrowing scenes with stuntwoman Zoe Bell, as a nod to the iconic film Vanishing Point.
Look at that. You made it across the finish line without completely blowing a gasket. Some of you cruised through like pros. Others, well, let's just say your brain's still in the slow lane, holding up the elderly drivers. Whether you aced it or crashed in glorious flames of ignorance, remember, it's not the score that matters. It's how loudly you pretended to know the answers. Smash that like button, subscribe to the Vortex, and prepare your engines for the next high-octane humiliation. Until next time, I'm Melvin. Vroom, vroom. Out!
Before you scuttle off to your earthly distractions, may I suggest indulging in one more of my mind-melting masterpieces? You're welcome.